Hey everyone, welcome back to another Bullet Train Devlog. This week, again, quite a lot changed because of the Steam Next Fest, which is currently live, so you can check it out. There's a link in the description below.
Likely the biggest change is once again in the town.
But this week, at least not visually.
I changed the whole town upgrade system. Before the change, town upgrades required specific orbs to upgrade buildings. This was not only somewhat confusing as it clashed with other systems, but also quite annoying to get the specific required orbs for certain upgrades. I had some feedback that some players searched for quite a long time until they found the required orb. So I streamlined this into orb shards. Now some additional upgrade costs might be shards of a specific orb type. These shards can be gained either a small amount every time your train dies, or as it was with the orbs, as soon as you defeat the boss, you can send some orbs back to the town, which will be converted into a certain amount of shards. Of course, the same is true if you beat the game.
Another important point for me for the Steam Next Fest was that I rebalanced several levels and trinkets.
There were just some levels that felt way too easy, especially in Area 3, and some that were quite hard still. I adjusted both of these to hopefully create a more reasonable experience. Another change was more for lower end systems. I now provide quite a lot more different graphic settings. Some have quite an important impact on frame rate. So especially, for example, if people play it on the Steam Deck, disabling volumetric fog, even if that changes the feeling of the game quite a bit, but it will improve the frame rate immensely. So just more options for players to experience the game on their systems, even if they are on the weaker side. Another change is that in-game shops will now allow you to sell your orbs again. This was done in response to some orbs just not really working for the train anymore. And getting at least a bit scrap back out of them just feels better than nothing at all and just leaving them in the upgrader or something like that.
Another change is that we now have the option to remap controls.
This was not a specific request, but in the end I felt like it makes sense to provide this, as it is just a staple of games nowadays. And also it is a preparation for future controller integration, because that is still something I want to do as well. And already having the button remappable controls, I feel like can help me there. Then, of course, apart from some smaller bug fixes, the main priority was also to create a very consistent gameplay experience. So I took again a look at profiling the game. There were just some instances where, for example, spawning particles or specific scenes caused the game to lag quite severely, especially again on lower systems. I looked into that and tried to remedy that as best as possible with preloading all the required things already in the loading screen. So while the game might now take a bit longer to load,
it should provide a way smoother gameplay experience during gameplay.
Which is for me way more important than, maybe waiting a bit longer for the game to load. Another thing is that after defeating the boss fight, I'm not sure if those victory screens were already in, that is a change, but we now also have a leaderboard. So depending on how long you take to defeat the final boss, so from start to end time, your time will be tracked.
If you build a museum, you can also see all the different leaderboard stats.
So this will now actually fetch the quickest time and also show which other times are on it, which I think might also be a nice feature. But that was everything for this week. In the next week, I will start with some non-demo related things. So looking at the next areas, I already have some plans there, but in the end I neglected them a bit, especially in favor of making the demo as good as possible, which of course also then means the game. So I think I now have a quite strong base. From that I will now start to work on the additional areas. Likely the next one is the forest area. I want to have specific features for each of these areas, so I will look into these at first and maybe already also start on the boss for the forest area, but I need to see how far I get with the other points.
But with that was everything. So as always, if you have comments or suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. And as I said already, the game is currently part of the Steam Next Fest. So if you want to check it out, the link is also in the video description. Otherwise, I will see you next week.